Hey guys, this week's podcast is brought to you by WWE 2K16, the video game. Get in the ring and raise some hell. The undisputed champion of wrestling games returns with the biggest roster in WWE games history. It's available now. Grab it on most platforms, but for now, enjoy the show.
This is The Art of Wrestling with professional wrestler Colt Cabana.
All right, how you guys doing? Come on in. Let's get it going. You're about to listen to The Art of Wrestling, a professional wrestling podcast. It's a life podcast. It's a personal journal. It's an entry into the minds and souls, the hearts and lives of people involved in the world of professional wrestling. I am your host. My name is Colt Cabana. I am jet lagged. That's it. Straight up jet lagged like I'm... Most importantly, though, I am a professional wrestler, and I am sitting here live in the studio apartment in Chicago, Illinois. Before I go any further, this is a fan-supported and listener-supported podcast supported by people just like you. Give it to you free of charge every single Thursday on ColtCabana.com, SoundCloud, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts from. A couple great ways that you can support, rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. Tell a friend. Tell somebody on Facebook, Twitter. You do it, they'll listen. Best way to support, though, ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com, t-shirts, buttons, pictures, posters, DVDs, digital downloads, premium podcasts. Marty and I do our own commentary to movies over there. Bunch of fun t-shirts. Grab something. Support something you love. ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com. All right, Gene Snitsky is on the show this week. Remember that I went to Japan and I needed people to fill in. So when I got home, there was people to have on the podcast. So that is the podcast for this week. Gene Snitsky came on and we talked. And listen, the point of this podcast is just to waste some time for you. So enjoy it. He's an odd duck. I don't think anyone's ever not thought that Gene Snitsky wasn't weird. Gene and I actually went on a tour together. This is kind of where we became the most friendly, in the Philippines. That's when I was a ring announcer. And for some of you that are, I guess, new on board with the podcast or haven't been listening as long as some of the others, in 2000 and maybe 13, Sean Davari somehow hooked up this tour of the Philippines, and I wasn't a big enough star, but I had a good enough friend named Sean Davari who took me on as the ring announcer, and I rang announce in one of the weirdest, oddest, but most fun times in wrestling. 5 stars in a less than 5-star economy. Had like the time of my life. It was so much fun. No pressure on me. I wasn't even wrestling. I was just ring announcing. I announced everybody to the ring, including Gene Snitsky, where Gene and I both went to the mall and got massages. Now, I know you're thinking in the Philippines, getting massages. Come on, Colt. No, I've never done that. I was going to say sadly enough, but I don't think sadly enough. But we got like a real massage. It was like $10 for like 90 minutes. Glorious. So I was like, I'll invite Snitsky on. We could talk a little bit. And that's the show for today. So it is. And he's something. He's promoting at the end. Have fun listening to Colt and Big Weird Gene. I'm back. I really don't have much to talk about. I guess I could talk about wrapping up the tour of Japan. Chris and I were on the last 2 weeks talking about what we were doing in Japan, wrestling in Japan, touring in Japan. The last show was at Korakuen Hall. We wrestled the British Bulldog Jr., Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Lance Archer. They are the global GHC tag team champions in Noah, and Chris and I beat them. And now we go back December 23rd. For a huge show in Tokyo. I think it seats like 4,000 people. This will be my biggest show in Japan, which I'm very excited about. I did one in Osaka that had about 2,000. It's weird because, I joined Zero One in 2006, and I think in 2003, 2004, they were doing like 20,000 seat arenas. And then when I got there, the biggest one was Korakuen, which is, I think, 1,600 or whatever they hold. And then I joined Noah in 2011. And, before then, even Chris and my trainer, Ace Steele, and a lot of these guys had talked about shows that they had done, Budokan Hall, and other big arenas, anywhere from, 30, 40 to 25, 20,000 people. And not that I'm sad, but, that's it would have been fun. I seem to catch on with these places a little after the big buzz. So I'm excited that this is a bigger show. This is going to be the biggest one. And not only am I part of it, Chris and I are part of it, but we've been asked to be a huge part of it, as this is, our second chance at the titles. And I want to say only 2 other, I was going to say Americans, but I'll just say Whiteys have held, Bison Smith and Keith Walker. So Pretty big opportunity, pretty cool. And if you think about it, wrestling is what it is, but you have to think about it that they trust us so much. They think highly of us and our work. We are known as big in USA over there. Obviously a playoff of big in Japan. And luckily, I'm Jewish. So even though we don't miss Christmas, it's not like I'm December 23rd, get home December 24th. It's not like I'm missing any seasonal activities. I think Cards Against Humanity has 8 days of Hanukkah gift. That's the extent of my knowledge of when Hanukkah is, because I sent that to a friend this year. So I think it's the 12th. Speaking of Cards Against Humanity, of course, Marty and I are doing our comedy show there the night before Thanksgiving. Please come to that. The cops raided Cards Against Humanity. Someone maybe told on them? That's kind of sad that that's happening. So I can't say that we're selling tickets, but a donation button and a recommended donation of how much you should give is on ColtCabana.com for that. Also, Top Rope Tuesdays is working with Pro Wrestling Tees now, and this week only, there's a Funny Equals Money t-shirt that's available at Pro Wrestling Tees, done by the artists at Top Rope Tuesday, and they do have really fun art. There's a lot of cool stuff that they've put out over the years, including that shirt that I wore on Marin's of all the wrestlers from the different states. Wrestling Road Diaries 3 is coming up. I'm excited about that. We're going to dissect comedy in wrestling. This week, I'm headed to House of Hardcore, Tommy Dreamer's promotion. First time there. Excited about that. Doing a live podcast in the Toronto area. Basically, this is me stalling because I have nothing to talk about this week. So Japan was fine. I'm very jet lagged. That's part of it. Sometimes you just got to sleep from noon to 8 and then be fucked your whole day. Hopefully, I get rid of that. Otherwise, another week, another day. Let's move forward in this podcast. Song of the Week this week is brought to you by DraftKings.com. Football season marches on, and while your season-long fantasy team might be going nowhere fast, every week is a new shot for glory at DraftKings.com. DraftKings is the destination for one-week fantasy football where you can relive the fantasy draft and play for huge prizes each and every single week. Challenge friends in a custom league or join an existing one to play for your share of the $1 billion in prizes up for grabs this year. Just pick your contest, draft your players, and collect your winnings. It's just that easy. Renew old rivalries or create new ones by going head-to-head with friends, colleagues, and fantasy players from all over the country. DraftKings is crowning a new millionaire every week this season. You could be next, but only if you play. This is the big time. It's DraftKings. Use my promo code WRESTLE and play for free with your first deposit in Sunday's $1 million fantasy football contest. First place takes home $100,000. Enter the code WRESTLE for free entry now at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com. All right, the song this week was one that everyone seemed to love this week, so I'm going to play it, of course. Written by @EricMoneypenny on Twitter, and there was a whole team that helped out at the animation domination. This is Dead Wrestler Beach, a great tribute. Enjoy it, and we'll be back with Gene Snitsky.
Dead Wrestler Beach. Dead Wrestler Beach. Macho Man was there with Miss Elizabeth, Yokozuna, Owen Hart, and Davey Boy Smith. Mr. Perfect was getting the perfect tan. Rick Rude wasn't rude, he shook my hand. I threw frisbee with Junkyard Dog, Eddie Guerrero in our bar, splashing waves like a frog. I got a sick haircut from Luna Vachon. I felt kinda awkward around Chris Benoit. Dead Wrestler Beach is cooler than words. Lee Von Erich's hanging with two of the free birds. Bruiser Brody and Brian Pillman. Hot Dr. Death and the Big Boss Man. Dead Wrestler Beach. Dead Wrestler Beach. Captain Lou was there, always thought he was funny. Candido's there too, you know he likes it sunny. Warrior's putting sunscreen on his big chest. Andrew Martin's there taking the lifeguard test. I could hang all day till the sun goes down with Umaga, Eddie Gilbert, and Bad News Brown. Andre's got an awesome volleyball team with Bam Bam, John Studd, and the American Dream.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey guys, we're also brought to you by Topps and Topps Huddle. I grew up on Topps. I love collecting Topps cards. Baseball, basketball, and of course football cards. Dan Hampton, Willie Gault, Walter Payton. Had a Walter Payton card, of course. Now Topps has brought the world of trading cards to digital. Topps Huddle features officially licensed NFL digital cards. Fans can collect cards with their favorite players from their favorite teams. Watch your collection grow by opening packs and making trades with other users. The Topps app does so much more also. play cards, and earn points in real-time, daily fantasy-style games based on how players perform on game days. Over 300 million Topps digital packs have been opened since 2012. For football and especially fantasy football fans, this is a must-have app. Download it for free in the App Store or Google Play and get 10 free packs today. Again, that's Topps in the App Store, or check them out at Topps.com. Thanks.
There's no start.
There's
no big start.
It's just a freelance conversation.
Wow.
Just a long form. You and I in a room. I don't know if I should be in this room with you.
We are kind of like secluded here in the Crown Plaza in Monroe, New Jersey.
Well, I mean, no need to talk about. These are evergreen. So, but if you want to give okay, Snitsky's giving a time and a place.
In my deep podcast voice.
Is that you? Just sound making himself. He's just cracked himself up.
In wrestling terminology, I just popped myself.
You just popped him here, Gene. How are you, bud?
Good. Long time no see. What's new?
It isn't a long time. I saw you a couple months ago.
I'm playing it up for the podcast.
Oh,
Cole.
sorry.
Work with me.
I'm a rookie.
Jeez. Where'd they find this guy?
First of all, look at this thing that's going on under your chin. You've become a beardsman.
Well, you know, I've always had the long goatee, so I was sort of a beardsman in transition, so to speak.
Okay, you're in.
And now I'm like fully engulfed in the facial fur.
You're in.
So,
Gene, if I was to say to describe yourself as a human, like what would your personality be? Because you're not Duck, are you not?
here's the thing with me. I play a big scary guy in wrestling, but in real life, I'm a big teddy bear. I like to goof around. I don't really take much serious. And, you only get one chance at life, and I'm not going to go through it miserable. And I figured have some fun, leave some type of lasting legacy, and it's kind of what I'm trying to do.
All right. You say you're a goofball, which I know to be the case.
Well,
do you think the people on TV got to see that?
No. Well, yeah, a little bit. When I was doing a tag team with Goldust, they got to see a touch of it. And it's a shame that got cut short because I think we could have really, really ran with that because it was so ridiculous and so off the wall.
Well, you guys had some good victories.
We had a lot of good chemistry, him and I.
I don't know if you remember the victory.
There was a young
Chicago,
Colt
Illinois.
Cabana involved in some of that.
Yeah, so here's
action.
And when we had a match. I enhanced you, but you say and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. You remember me as a person.
Yeah, I remember the match now that we had spoke previously about it. I'm kind of one of those guys, like I do stuff and like it gets stored in the memory bank, but unless there's like a rewind button pushed, I don't like go back to it per se.
Like let's say like I had Hacksaw on here and I wrestled Hacksaw on like Sunday Night Heat and I was like no way he would even remember, and he didn't, like obviously. Yeah. But I think even Goldust, like there's some guys who remember the guys. You must have had, I don't know, did you have like 1,000 of those matches where you're having those dudes in the ring?
It sounds corny, but like whenever I'm working with someone, I kind of want to get to know them just because, when you're out there, your life's in these people's hands and some nutball could freak out. And
so it's not that you're a nice guy and you want to get to know these people.
Don't take that the wrong way. But
it's just so you don't die.
It was before the Craigslist days. But all seriousness.
Before you were putting yourself on Craigslist?
Yeah. Before we were looking for wrestlers on Craigslist. But, no, I mean, it's, you've been in the business. It's, something gets effed up out there. Chances are somebody's getting hurt.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get hurt. Simple as that.
You took my boot off, man.
I think what happened was you didn't have your boots tightened enough. They were loose or something.
I had the Velcros.
Yeah, that's it. And
so
your
they were
Velcro popped off. I was just helping you. I was making sure that it was, you're getting your proper support.
I appreciate that. Yeah, you were doing the thing with the feet.
Yeah, it was interesting. At the time, we were just doing all the crazy stuff. Like Goldust character was like off the wall. They were like kind of making my character off the wall. So, it just kind of fit. And, we were doing all those backstage segments, and we had the WrestleMania backstage segment with all like the lack of a better term, freaks of WWE. And it actually turned out pretty good. And I guess people liked it, so WWE decided to roll with it. And
You tickled my feet, man.
well,
You went, you took off my boot, you took off my sock.
the way I recall it, you said, "Gene, can you please scratch my foot?"
I
It's
did.
itching."
I might have
And
even
I'm,
said.
being the helpful guy that I am,
Yeah.
I was like, "Colt, no problem. I'll take care of that."
You're such a
So,
in front of 18,000 people in an arena.
Of our closest friends.
Yeah, actually, I might have had some friends. There's in Chicago. Yeah, no. So tell me, like, come on, because I want to know Big Gene with the feet. That's a thing.
Well, like all my friends kind of rib me because they're like, "Man, you're getting paid to be on TV doing that foot fetish thing. We all know you have a foot fetish, so like, that's just ridiculous." I'm like, "Well, it's tough to get paid for it. It's hard to accept a check because I'm kidding. It's not hard to accept a check. I was quite happy to cash that check every Monday, but no, it was like all my friends that know me knew the inside joke of it, so it was kind of funny. But
And where does that stem from?
it starts like at the big toe
Oh yeah,
and spreads down to the small toe.
the Achilles.
But,
I got a thing for the Achilles.
Well, there's a funny story behind my wife and I. Like our very first date, I was like, "Well, it was fun, had a good time, blah blah blah, but you're gonna have to take your shoe and sock off, otherwise, we may not have a second date." And this is a true story, and she'll tell you. And my wife, my lovely wife, Dan. Hello, Dan. So she took her shoe and sock off, and she's like, "Is it okay? Is anything wrong?" I'm like,
I love that she's like a woman who would take off her
"Oh
clothes.
yeah." She had like no reservation. She's like, "Okay." So
But she's self-conscious about her feet.
She
you to like
actually
it.
did not seem to mind. Like,
Okay.
literally in 5 seconds, her shoe and sock.
But you
was
said,
off.
"Are you okay? Are you into this? I don't know.
No, I didn't.
Is this what you're liking?"
Well, quick backstory. Her and I went to high school together. She was a little older than me. She's that older woman who seduced the younger guy. But I know her brother. Her brother and I played sports together at Panther Valley High School, and so I've known her since I was young. And it was like, she was always my buddy's older sister, blah blah blah. You know the deal. When you're young in high school, it's just kind of whatever. But so we ended up, I got tickets for her brother and another good buddy of mine, Donnie Ansbach, back when we were wrestling in Philly.
I love the names. Donnie Asbach.
Yeah. So
Is he a good guy?
oh yeah, real good guy. Team Snitsky approved.
Okay.
But so we were wrestling at the Philly, arena. I think it was called the Wachovia Center back then. And did the show, went out and hung out with those guys. Well, her and her friend happened to be in the area as well. So met up with them, started talking, blah, blah, blah. Make a long story short, ended up going on a date with her. Well, that's what leads us to now with the foot thing. So I said, take your shoe and sock off, check it out, see if this is going to turn into a second date possibly. And she was like, "Oh, okay." And then, she had these nice size 10 feet, passed the test, and the rest is history.
But that's a real thing, though. Like, that's what does it for you, huh?
Well, I mean, that's not the only thing that does it
No,
for
but
me.
it is.
I like, chocolate and peanut butter ice cream,
Yeah.
too. So,
And she had that. I don't know.
well, only when it's rubbed on my back. But no, that's just a joke. I don't
Thank you.
But I do like chocolate and peanut butter ice cream.
I think we all do, yeah. But no, but you're into feet, man. Like, it's just, that's the thing. Like, you discovered that somehow.
Pretty much.
Do you remember how you discovered that?
No, just kind of always the first thing I notice on a woman's if she has nice feet. Because generally, 99.99% of the time, if a lady has nice feet, she takes care of herself.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I mean?
interesting. Do you know what I look for a lot sometimes? I'll look at women and men. I'll look at their toes and I'll count. Because like one day I feel I will find someone with 6 toes.
I actually had a friend as a rib sent me a picture of a girl. She has webbed toes.
Okay.
Like legit webbed toes. And I was like, that's kind of freaky.
Not into it.
No, that just kind of like ruined it. But it's legit. She like had webbed toes.
Yeah,
like
there's people out there.
Like a aqua woman.
But that is it. But I mean, I've known of that. I feel there's.
I've known of it. I've never seen
You've
it.
never seen it in person. I
But
think
it was
there's
kind of like, ooh.
I think there's famous actors or actresses. There's somebody like a Renee Zellweger or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's somebody with a web toe, or even maybe just the outer pinky and.
Yeah,
second
I'll have to Google that. Man.
Yeah,
But,
I'll send it on to you, or
It's
maybe
definitely-
somebody will tweet it to us. I
Yeah.
know there's a famous one out
It's
there.
definitely a deal breaker though. Like the nasty feet thing, just totally. No matter, like she could be in Playboy, from the ankles up, But if she has nasty, gnarly feet, it's not going to happen.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And a good lead into the show. Thanks.
Yes. Yeah. Of course. Of course. As we go.
If there's any viewers still listening,
Yeah. They're not viewing.
well,
They're
they will
listening.
be.
They're listening.
They'll be viewing when I debut my hidden camera segment.
I think a lot of people thought that you were just a dude that came onto WWE television, and maybe myself included. Though later to learn about the twin tackles and like the Alpha days. I remember when we were in India. I don't even think I knew, and this might be a known thing, but you played in the NFL. Is that right? Or is that incorrect?
I was there for a cup of coffee. I had a really good career at Missouri. I played at Mizzou. Andy Reid was actually my offensive line coach, who's now the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. But
Did he like you?
oh, he loved me. We had a blast. I used to drive the poor man crazy because he played at BYU with Jim McMahon, and Jim McMahon was quarterback for the Eagles, and I'm a diehard Eagles fan.
So he was also the quarterback for
the Bears.
That's right.
But anyways, I would constantly barrage Andy Reid with, "Coach, please call Jim McMahon. I want to talk to him. No, seriously, I want to talk to him. Please call him." And like it got to the point where when Coach Reid saw me come into his office, he'd like lock the door because he knew I was going to come and ask. So I used to drive him crazy. But it's funny because then he ended up getting the head coaching job at the Eagles. So I ended up driving him crazy anyway because I'd always just show up unannounced, no tickets, no. Hey, Coach Reid, can I get a ticket for the game? And the guy is awesome. I love him to death. He always took good care of me. He actually is the man responsible for moving me to offensive line because I went to Missouri on a full football scholarship to play defensive end. And Coach Reid saw something in me, I suppose, maybe the 39-inch arms, but we ran the West Coast offense, and it was, a lot of passing, so I did a lot of pass blocking. And I'm proud to say I never gave up a sack at Missouri. So
What were you, a tackle?
Offensive tackle.
Yeah. What were you? 6 something? What'd you play at?
I think the official Missouri football guide had me listed at 6'6", 308.
And you have a ring as we're talking. What is
Yes, my Missouri football ring.
from? Did you bowl?
Nope, it's
Just the team?
3-year Letterman ring.
Okay.
Yeah, first year you get like I forget the exact order. This is my Mizzou people out there are gonna barrage me over this, but you get a ring, a jacket, and a watch.
Okay.
So I have all three.
I got none of those as a preferred walk-on at Western Michigan, as a redshirted preferred walk-on.
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't know it, but I was a pretty successful football player before I got into WWE. I did, like I said, I was first team All-State at Panther Valley High School in Pennsylvania. Only the third player at the time to ever make first team All-State, and that's back when they did the whole state. It wasn't 1A and 2A and then 3A, 4A. It was 1 through 4. Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Okay.
And Pennsylvania is a huge football state, so you're competing with the Pittsburgh guys, the Philly guys, and I'm just from a rinky-dink small town in the middle of nowhere, Nesquehoning, Pennsylvania. Shout out Nesquehoning, PA. Woohoo! So we had one stoplight, 3,000 people. So for me to get first team All-State in the whole entire state of Pennsylvania, it was a pretty big deal.
Were you the only giant man at this high school?
Actually, I wasn't a giant man in high school. I was as tall as I am, but I was about 235 when I played football.
Huh?
Yeah, but I was athletic. I was a really good basketball player as well. I was a starting center, believe it or not, for the Keystone State Games for the Northeast region of Pennsylvania.
I don't even know what the Keystone State Games is.
It's a statewide, Olympic type thing for
Okay.
the state of Pennsylvania.
I mean, I believe it, especially if you're a big athlete and a tall guy. And
Yeah. So I was also a very accomplished basketball player and played on the best team in the history of Panther Valley High School. We were 29-2 Eastern finalists, the whole 9 yards.
you're really
so.
Al Bundying this thing up, aren't you?
Well, if you really want to dig deep down to find out the true
How many
Gene Snitsky,
touchdowns
we have
in-
to go all the way back to Nesquehoning.
Okay. How many touchdowns in one game?
I pull out all the stops for the Colt Cabana show.
Thank you.
welcome.
Wait, so you played at Mizzou, but then you went and you played in the NFL.
I went to camp with the Chargers. Unfortunately, about a month in, I had some shoulder issues, which actually found out to be a torn labrum.
Were you free agented it, or you
I did
drafted
the free agent thing because when I got invited to the NFL Combines. It was kind of a pre-existing injury deal, and at the time I didn't know it was a torn labrum. I just thought it was a subluxed shoulder. Excuse me. So they signed me as a free agent because they don't want to take a chance at that level. And went to camp. I was running second team left tackle behind Harry Swain. Stan Humphries was the quarterback at the time. I got to block Junior Seau on a daily basis. That was always fun. But yeah, so I was doing that, and then one day it just got to the point where my arm was literally hanging out of the socket, and I was like, I better get this checked. So, I mean, I have a pretty high pain tolerance, as do most pro wrestlers. So, got it checked, got an MRI, found out I had a torn labrum. Like, it was pretty torn, like bad. And I went to the specialist. My agent at the time was friends with the team physician for the Steelers. So I went and saw him, and he was like, man, you better get surgery. It's pretty bad. So, because, obviously I wanted to avoid surgery if I didn't have to get it because I still wanted to play. But make a long story short, ended up having to have the surgery. I got a tendon cut away, stretched over the existing area, stapled down. So I have 3 staples in my shoulder, all that good stuff. And, knock on wood, it's, held up very well. So,
do you think a pain tolerance comes because I think all wrestlers do have pain tolerances, but I think we gain it throughout the years.
It's funny. I actually sort of had this conversation not too long ago, and people were like, "Oh, what'd you think was tougher, football or wrestling?" And I was like, "Definitely wrestling, because with football, you're running into people. It's more of a frontal type thing. With wrestling, it's more of falling down. Yeah, you're doing a lot more falling down on your back, your butt, your hips. So it's a different sort of impact, but nonetheless, it's a jarring impact, and it's more so because we do it 52 weeks a year.
Yeah, but
with football, it's seasonal, and you get to recover and all that. But
also with football, you're we're young, and we're just
yeah. Plus, you're wearing all the pads and the helmet. I mean, shit, I could run full speed into a wall every day with a helmet on.
Yeah,
I mean, that's easy. Matter of fact, I think I did that a few times in Missouri.
I'm sure, or now today without it. No, but as wrestlers, it's just the years. Because there's only so many people that go to the NFL. I guess there's only so many people that can. But I guess you can continue your.
It's definitely a
football career,
an accumulated buildup of tolerance, no doubt about it. Because I can still remember taking my first bump back at the Wild Samoan Training Center in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Shout out to Pops, love you, Pops. I took my first bump and I was like, "Ooh, this hurts."
Right. I just did the NFL Combine,
and this really hurts.
Yeah.
So it was kind of it's a different world. And that's why I always chuckle. You see big muscular guys, oh, I'm going to wrestle. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it's they take 1 or 2 bumps, run the ropes a few times, and you never hear from them again.
But you were probably one of those guys, too, that probably people chuckled at you almost.
It's kind of... I was kind of the exception to the rule, really, I think, because I had met Samu, and on reference from Court Bauer, who I'm sure you know, he started the MLW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On reference from him, I got referred to Sam, and Sam actually booked me for a tour of the Middle East.
So
I worked with Sam, Lloyd, and
who's the other
Gangrel,
one of the Samoans. Yeah,
on my very first ever wrestling tour.
Wow.
So how could you not gain unbelievable experience?
Yeah, but when you go into that camp, I'm saying a guy from football.
Well, what I'm saying is I proved myself on the tour,
sure,
to be able to cut it, so to speak, and then they invited me to the camp.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So you wrestled before you even knew how to wrestle?
Sort of, kind of.
Is it all coming out here?
Well, I actually signed up to go to Dory Funk's camp because I didn't know about the Wild Samoan Training Center.
I think I had heard that.
So that's where I actually met Court Bauer.
Okay.
So in that week-long camp, I believe it was,
right,
I made friends and
so tell me.
that.
So tell me. So you do your shoulder in. The NFL dream is gone.
Well, it actually wasn't gone. There's a what are they called? Where that not a cliff note, but
a hiccup?
No. It's when you're reading a book and there's a little number there.
A page number.
No.
I don't read books. That's the problem.
It's in the back, the little...
Oh, now I know what you're talking about.
Oh!
And it starts with an A, maybe?
Apex, Amendix.
An amendation? No, that's not it.
Anyway.
Amendation? This is two stupid people.
I know. I'm a wrestler. Anyway, so I was like... I lost my train of thought. Where were we?
The NFL dream wasn't done.
So
there's an Amex to the thing.
Yeah, a subnote or whatever they call them. Anyway, we'll edit that out.
Nope.
But
I want people to know how dumb we are.
So I went, and after my shoulder surgery, went through the full rehab, blah blah blah. Signed with the CFL. I played in the Canadian Football League.
Oh, get out of here!
With the Birmingham Barracudas, with the American teams.
You and The Rock, you guys play together?
I don't believe he was there when I was there. But so
So you did
A similar story, but not the same outcome.
At the
'Cause
same-
he's a big Hollywood movie star, and I'm sitting here talking to Cole Cabana. No
Thanks.
offense.
I appreciate it. No, I get it. So what'd you do? You did a couple years in CFL or just
Just that one season.
just one season? So
Because I came to the quick realization, Canadian football stinks. No offense to the Canadians. I have a lot of Canadian friends. Oh, Canada. But anyway, retired from football after that. And then, like I said, went to Dory's camp.
Well, I mean, but I want to know where it's just like, okay, I'm done with Canada football. Okay, I realize maybe this isn't a thing.
Well, going back about maybe it would have been 10 years. When I was 15, I would literally tell everybody I knew, well, you're either going to watch me in the NFL or you're going to watch me on Monday Night Raw. Like as a kid, I would tell people that because I was a huge wrestling fan. Wrestling's huge in the Northeast. I remember going to see shows at Stable Arena, Allentown Fairgrounds, the whole 9 yards. And, being the athlete that I was, I knew if, football didn't pan out that I'd be able to do the wrestling thing because I saw the guys on TV and I could do all that stuff already. And I was bigger than 90% of them. So I was like, I'd always like to try it. And there's a funny article actually written in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch when I was still at Missouri playing football. One of the sports writers came to the football facility building to interview me, and they're like, well, it looks good for you with the NFL, blah, blah, blah. Well, what would happen if if it doesn't pan out? And that's when I said to him, I said, well, you're either, if the football doesn't work out on Sundays, you'll see me on Mondays on WWE. And he was like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, if someone tells you that when you're 21 years old, they're like, yeah, right, whatever, buddy. But it's funny because, like, to this day, all my buddies at Missouri still like, hey, remember that time that you're in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you guys all thought it was bullshit.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what I was talking about.
So, now I'm like Nostradamus. So
Right.
it's cool.
So, okay. So the dream was there as a kid. You loved wrestling.
I loved wrestling.
You went to all the wrestling.
I could remember vividly as a little snitsky at 10 years old, laying on my stomach watching TV on my turn dial television because we didn't have cable boxes back then. I'm not that old. I'm just kidding.
I remember watching it. I had a turn.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like weirdly Saturday mornings, like there'd be this weird WCW. You never knew what was on when.
Yeah, you just kind of turned the dial till
And then
you
you
found
turned the
something.
dial,
Yeah.
and then there would be Spanish WCW.
Well, not where I lived. There wasn't a big Spanish component.
fair
there.
enough, yeah.
But I didn't live in Chicago.
Right.
Remember, I'm from Nesquehoning.
Fair enough.
Small coal
Fair
mining
enough.
town, northeast Pennsylvania.
Gotcha.
But, so, it caught my eye as a young kid.
Okay, so CFL's done.
Yeah.
And you're like, you were living in Canada?
No. I was on the American team. Pay attention when I'm talking, Colt.
In the CFL? There's an
Birmingham Barracudas, the American
To
team.
me, I just assumed that was Birmingham, Ontario.
No, they
Canada.
did an expansion the 1 year for the American teams, and there was like 6 or 7 American teams.
Weird.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but
Okay, so you're living in New York then, which is close.
no.
Where's Birmingham?
Birmingham Barracudas, Alabama. Birmingham, Alabama.
God.
Yeah. So anyway,
It made sense, Birmingham, because there's a Birmingham in New York, right?
well, you're thinking close to the Canadian border.
That's a good. That made all the sense in the world to me.
To you, yes.
But Alabama, let's put an Alabama team in the Canada Football League. That is.
They're all over the place actually.
Okay.
It was kind of weird.
Okay.
I'll agree with you there.
So what's your move? What's your you're done? What? How you're?
Well, like I said, I just happened to be on the internet and see about
Looking
the
at
Dory
feed.
Funk camp. No, I don't do that. That's my alter ego.
Sorry.
But so I discovered that.
What does that mean? You were searching it out? Were you? I mean,
Well, I think I might have Googled like, or no, you know what? I might have seen.
ask Jeeves back then.
What the heck was it? Something. Who the heck told me about it?
Cord Bauer.
I'm drawing a blank on it, but for
Okay.
some reason I remember finding it, like the website for it, and I was like, oh, it's not too expensive, good way to get, some exposure. Like I said, I didn't know
Exposure, but you didn't think you had to start somewhere?
Well, I didn't know where to start. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, you watch it and you're like, oh, that's great, but then when you really want to do it, like you can't just call 1-800 WWE.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, how do I start wrestling?
Look in the yellow
Yeah,
pages.
you know what I mean?
I would look under the yellow pages for wrestling schools, I would, for anything wrestling.
So I was just like, okay, well, I'll go there. And Dory Funk, he's kind of legendary. The Funk.
So what'd you do? You drove down? You flew down? You get in a Greyhound?
we flew down.
I remember
my partner
Hero
and
got
I.
in a Greyhound.
Oh, really?
Do you remember?
I had a bad Greyhound experience driving home from Columbia, Missouri, so I never will revisit Greyhound
Fair
ever
enough.
again.
That's not
It
a
was
plug for Greyhound.
27 hours of pure torture.
I can't imagine those being fun.
It wasn't.
I can't believe anyone going, oh, I love Greyhound.
I'm not even going to lie to you. It was, besides my shoulder surgery, the worst experience of my life, bar none. Because I literally was not laying, but sitting, trying to lay back in my seat, like the reclining seat deal, trying to get some sleep. And there was a lady with a baby crying, screaming, shit itself, changing the diaper right on the bus seat. And like, I'm trying to sleep and all I could smell was shit. And I'm like, really? And this was like I said, it's a 27-hour drive, and you're stopping at every little city.
Yeah.
And I'm like, am I ever getting to Pennsylvania? Oh, my God. And I got off the bus, and this is a true story. I got off the bus, and I said to my dad, I am not going back on that bus. I don't care if I have to walk to Missouri. I am not getting back on a Greyhound to go back to Missouri. Ain't happening. So they broke down and got me.
Dad, I don't want to go on Greyhound.
Oh,
There's
dude.
stinky babies on there.
It was horrible. Horrible.
All right.
Horrible.
So you head down to Ocala.
Ocala. Yeah, so I did the Dory Funk thing. Me and my tag team partner went, actually, Rob Harper, who played football with me at Missouri. And,
Wait, but you can't say my tag team partner when you had never trained for wrestling.
but we wore the same outfit, so technically that's a tag team. To us.
So you and this dude were like, hey, let's go down there together and learn wrestling?
Yeah, we played football together at Missouri, and like for Halloweens all through college, him and I would dress up as his tag team.
Gotcha.
So
together, you're like, let's do this.
yeah, so we got together, we planned it out, we went down there together, and actually worked as a tag team at the camp. So it was kind of neat,
Wait, but you have to get you have to learn those bumps first. Like,
well, not really.
you just went in there and started tag teaming it up.
Well,
Do you see where I'm weirded out by this?
it's it's not like you just go down there and start wrestling. We did drills and bumps and all that stuff.
Okay, well, that's what I'm getting. You were like, yeah, we just went in there, we started tag teaming, and then
Well, we went as a tag team. I mean,
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we had the plan to be this tag team, and our first tag team name was the Twin Tackles, for obvious reasons. We played the football together at Missouri. We were both tackles, thus Twin Tackles, because he was almost literally as equal size as me. Like we were pretty much the same size, so Twin Tackles, and did our thing there, got some noticed. I mean, Dory liked us, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, Court Bauer was there, got to become friends with him.
was he wrestling?
No, he went as the manager, valet kind of deal.
Okay.
So, and just hit it off with him and became friends. And like I said, got contacted by him. Sam was looking for a guy to do the Patriot gimmick for the tour. So Court's like, oh, Snitsky looks like a Patriot kind of guy.
You're right.
Because, lean and muscular. And
We had some Patriots in Chicago. My trainer did the Patriot.
Yeah?
Danny Dominion.
Yeah, there's a long line of Patriots. So I got in touch with Sam, and I'm like, hey, it's Gene Snitsky. Court told me to get in touch with you, blah, blah, blah. Oh, great. Can you get a Patriot outfit in like 2 days? I'm like, what?
Sure.
So literally, I got a Patriot outfit. How
1-800-WWE.
Yeah.
Hey, I need a Patriot Can you
outfit.
send,
Send one from
FedEx over?
Stanford? But yeah. So however it happened, it all worked out. I ended up getting on this tour. We went to like Japan, Southeast Asia, Afghanistan.
Was this a military
Uzbekistan,
tour?
Turkey, yeah. So we were like all over the place.
And these were
Egypt.
your first matches.
Yeah.
Was a world tour?
28 days.
Wow. As the Patriot.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. I mean, it was,
Who were the guys on it? Because it was all big guys, I'd imagine.
It was me, Samu, Lloyd, Gangrel. Tommy Suede was on it.
From
From the movie The Wrestler.
Yeah.
Oh, who the heck else was on there?
So it was
Late Luna Vachon. Rest in peace. She was awesome. She was on it. Bill Anderson. Big Bill Anderson from California was on it.
a mix of guys and a mix of of the Samoan hookup
Malia
guys.
Hasaka, Jamie the Jersey Devil. It was great. We had a blast. I'll be honest with you. My thoughts were, if this is pro wrestling, I don't ever want to do anything else.
Of course.
Like, we had too much fun.
Yeah, of course.
Like, ridiculous.
And those were your
amounts of fun.
first matches.
Yeah, and we're like on the plane flying over there, and I'm like sitting with the stewardesses, drinking vodka with them, and like Lloyd and Sam are just like, oh man, this guy's too much.
What a life.
And I'm just thinking, man, if this is what wrestling's all about,
Yeah. Man, your and I's first match experiences were a lot. Although I did wrestle King Kong Bundy my third match, so it's kind of the same.
I don't know if I ever actually. I might have wrestled him, or was it a tag team?
Did you have somebody? Did you have somebody? I mean, so somebody had to be teaching you out there, like how to do stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, like Sam kind of, Sam and Lloyd pretty much helped me through it.
Took you under your wing.
And then, like I said, when I came back from that tour, they invited me to the camp because I did well. And, Pops took me under his wing and kind of developed me. And, I did all the WXW shows and, all the stuff they did. We did a little shot up in New England one time for a fundraiser for some of the New England Patriots. And, like, we were doing all kind of cool stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, this, like I said, this is great. So, like, it just kind of, I mean, you know how it is. It reels you in.
Yeah.
know?
Did you think it was like an inevitable, like that you would get to the WWE, or were you like, oh, I even like this?
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. My goal was to get to the WWE.
Yeah.
I didn't start wrestling to wrestle at
Well, some people do. You
some
know?
bingo hall in the middle of nowhere.
Some people do. Myself included. Like,
To me, it was always a means to an end. Like, no matter what I do, is a means to an end. I don't do something just to do it. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I love it. I'm passionate about it. I love the entertainment of it. But let's face it. In all honesty, if you body slam a guy or I body slam a guy, it's still a body slam. It's what you do or how I do it that makes it differentiate itself. Mm-hmm. So to me, the whole caricature stuff was what really drew me in. Like Hogan, like I said, watching him as a kid, he's larger than life, doing the promos, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, blah, blah, blah. Like, to me, that's what I loved about wrestling. I could care less about the moves or the, all that stuff.
and what did you?
I love the characters and being larger than life and being able to draw emotion out of people just by being that character.
What did you envision that? Like, I guess as with Sam, with Afa and Pops, like, what did you envision? Were you working on it, or did you have one from?
No,
right
I kind
away?
of had one in mind. Like, I always wanted to be like either the Sandman or the Prince of Darkness. Like, not the Sandman as the Sandman guy. That
Not ECW Sandman.
No.
Because I wanted to be that
Yeah.
Sandman.
No, I wanted to be like. I always had this like. As a kid, I was always scared like there was someone under my bed. So I thought like the whole Sandman thing was cool because like the nighttime, kids at night scared of the dark kind of thing. So that's kind of how I envisioned my Sandman. And then the Prince of Darkness, just because I was a huge Ozzy Osbourne fan,
Right.
And he always Prince of Darkness.
I'm trying to I guess remember your run, and I don't consider myself a historian by any means, but I would say those last vignettes and stuff that they were doing for you, was that like the closest you ever thought that was to your thoughts?
I was kind of really pissed off when they kind of kiboshed the whole ECW character because it was going so good and it was getting over and people really responded to it.
And so just hit me again with exactly like were that like there were vignettes and you were like kind of crazy. I don't know. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, Vince came up to me one day and he's like, "Hey, come in next week and shave all your hair off. I want to see what you look like, and do something with those teeth, like get them dirty somehow."
The yellow teeth. Okay, I remember.
I'm
now.
like, okay, how am I supposed to do that? He's like, well, go talk to the makeup lady. I'm like, okay. Make a long story short, I shaved off all my hair. I ordered this, the hell was it called?
bleaching, reverse bleaching.
What's the stuff called when you get it on your teeth? The yellow stuff? Plaque like thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I got like this plaque stuff that you paint on your teeth and, it comes off when you brush your teeth. But I remember like getting it and like thinking to myself, this really sucks.
You didn't like it?
No, hated it. And then started getting over, and I was like, that's not so bad. But, just think about painting your teeth every day.
Yeah.
It sucks.
I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that Sandman character that you were envisioning, I mean, that seems like the closest that I thought of you to that.
Yeah, I mean.
Did you ever feel you hit the character that you wanted to hit?
No.
You never did?
No. I mean, all the stuff you saw was pretty much materialized by them. Like, I interjected my own stuff to it, but it wasn't like I went into Vince and said, hey, I want to shave off all my hair. You know what I mean? It was them coming to me. And then I just made the most of it.
Were you okay with that, or was there a piece of you that like really wanted to interject something that you wanted?
Oh, I was okay with it, cashing the check on Monday, like I said, but then it comes to a point where it's like, I mean, that's why I left WWE. It was kind of like getting to the point where it was like, they're just destroying my character. They're not really going in the direction I want to see it go. Like I said, I didn't want to get the WWE just to get the WWE. You know what I mean? Like, that was never my intention.
Are you saying did you not get released?
Well, they say you get released.
Yeah.
I mean, that's their terminology for it.
Okay.
But I had a meeting with Vince, and I was like, look, I've never sat the bench on any sports team I've ever played in my life, ever, going back to when I was 8 years old. And I don't want to be on the bench here. If I'm not going to be an integral part of the team, I don't want to be here.
Okay.
I mean, I've given you all I've got. You guys gave me stuff to work with, and I made it into gold. And
Gold dust.
At one
When
point,
you tagged
yes,
with them, yes.
So, and they were big on the big saying then when I was there, oh, you got to reach for the
brass ring.
The brass ring.
Of course.
So, I'm like, I mean, they gave me a storyline where I hit Kane with a chair and they lose their baby and it turns into the hottest angle in wrestling. Like, seriously? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you had some weird ones, didn't you?
Yeah. So it's like, you guys keep giving me this stuff. I keep turning it into gold. And, like, at the time, I was wrestling with Umaga, rest in peace, Umaga. And him and I would tag team against DX every weekend on house shows. Every weekend. Even on the European tour. We wrestled them like 7 or 8 times every night. Get the TV. What am I doing? You might have a dark match. I might have a dark match. What?
You're wrestling Colt Cabana. You're taking his shoe off.
It's like, I'm like, well, I just got great reports from the agents. I was just working Hunter and Sean. Well, this doesn't make any sense.
Or it makes all the sense in the world.
You know what I mean?
Well, if you're working those two guys.
And, the frustration just kept building, and it just finally came to the point where I was like, I'm just going to go talk to Vince.
Yeah.
And
so when you said, listen, I'm not a bench player, make sure you put your mic up there. Sorry. when you say I'm not a bench player, were you in hopes of being like, fucking A, right, let's go, you're number one?
No, actually, Vince said
Or were
to
you
me,
ready to be gone?
No, I was ready to be the guy. Because, I mean, all my matches were good. I've worked with all the top guys, and I never had a bad match.
But I'm saying,
and the agents kept telling me, "Oh, it was great. Yeah, we give you great reports. We don't know why you're not getting more."
But there was a point where you said you left because you didn't want to be the bench player.
Well, I had a meeting with Vince, hoping that he would say, "Well, we're going to start doing."
That's
something
what you were hoping for.
He did, and that's what he did.
But then you said you were gone.
Yeah, I got released 2 days later with no explanation. So it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I literally had a meeting with Vince, and I told him what I told him. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm willing to run through a wall for you guys. I've been a great employee. I've never had any drug issues. I've never had any arrests. I've never been in trouble. I'm a model employee. I bust my ass for this company. I have a great look. I'm a great athlete. I want to contribute more. I'm not here just to collect a paycheck. Oh, well, we're going to probably end up moving you to SmackDown. Just hang tight. Things are going to turn around, blah, blah, blah. 2 days later, I got a call. The economy's bad. We're going to have to let you go. Okay. Hey. Yeah, that's how it kind of went down.
Yeah. So post that release, like, what's your thought process? Are you like, I got to get a job. I got to do something with my life?
No.
Where's the rest of this is going to go?
I just kind of worked my ass off for 3 months, training and getting in really good shape and collecting my 90-day severance.
Yeah.
And just pursuing acting again, because I was a working actor before I signed with WWE, and I just kind of threw myself back into that. I was out in LA for a couple weeks, did some music video, some spot work here and there, and unfortunately, LA is very expensive.
Yeah.
And when the 90-day severance runs out, trying to run a house in Pennsylvania and a place to stay in LA just wasn't,
right,
easy to do. So,
But it's a different life plan. Like you were on the road and you were there for
5 years.
Yeah, a good amount of time where it's like, oh, this is my life. I could see this. This is how it works. To it's not my life anymore.
Well, when you're in college, I have a degree in hotel restaurant management from Missouri, and they always tell you got to have an education to fall back on. So I didn't think I was going to be wrestling until I was 70 years old, but I didn't think I'd be done in 5 years either.
Right.
Because I thought like I said, all the reports I got, I was doing great. Everything was great. So I'm still at a loss as to why I got released.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I still haven't been told the real reason, because it's not the economy. That's
sure, but it was that move, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. I was the only guy that got released.
But I'm saying it was that bold move that you made.
Well, it's either shit or get off the pot.
Right, exactly. And I'm
not just going to sit around.
Of course. I think but I mean, you have to
take
think,
it or
like,
leave it. I'm not going to pull any punches. If you want me here, great. If you don't, that's great too.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here just to be here.
All right.
That's the point.
Yeah.
I didn't bust my ass all those years to get to WWE to sit and watch the show backstage. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, of course.
That's just kind of how I felt.
Yeah.
And if I upset them, then oh well.
But that's what I'm saying. It was a trigger reaction to that conversation, probably.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just a happenstance
Right,
that
yeah,
I got
yeah.
released 2 days later.
Yeah. Well, when I was the only one released too.
Yeah. And it's like, at that time they were doing like the 14 guy releases and the 10 guy releases, and it's just me.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Well, we're in the same club.
I don't need a rock to fall on my head. I'm not,
Which is a little like, no, like at least if I was part of those 20 man.
Yeah, I'd feel better about it.
Yeah.
But I was kind of frustrated, to be honest with you, because I know I have a lot more to offer, and definitely feel that I wasn't used to my full potential.
Well.
And I mean, I'm sure everybody does, but it's
Did
the point of people coming up to me still to this day and being like, "Oh, you were my favorite wrestler. I wish they would have did more with you." Like, that goes right through me.
Yeah.
Like, that actually bothers me more than it should compliment me, to be honest with you. Because I'm so competitive, and I hate losing at anything.
Yeah.
And, like, to not have really been able to show what I could do frustrates me.
Well, where do you take those competitive juices now, like in your life?
Well, now I'm, like, doing the acting thing. I'm co-producing a horror movie called 100 Acres of Hell right now that we're going to film in November.
Are you using like that competition, like?
I compete with myself now because I'm like my worst enemy. Like, I go to the gym and, I got to always try to better myself. And, it's just my nature. Like, as a kid, I used to hate losing. It's just the way I am. I can remember being a kid playing Pong with my dad on TV, the Pong game.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'd lose, I would get so pissed off that it would ruin my whole day. Like, literally. Like, I'd be so mad. And, like, I'd be like, oh. Like, I hated losing at anything. I still do. Like, I just hate it.
Do you see that as good or bad? Like,
It's good to me.
Yeah, because
I wouldn't be so successful if I wasn't.
but like I feel I don't have that competitive edge really,
really,
and maybe in a way, but I don't know. Sometimes when I lose at shit, I don't give a like. I'm like,
really,
and I don't think it's.
Yeah,
sometimes I think that's a better way. Also,
I don't know. I'm just too competitive. Like, I've just maybe it's because I'm from a small town. Maybe it's.
Well, you beat all those guys in that town. You're number one.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
competing with yourself with a beard contest right now. This thing is glistening.
No, it's just. I guess it's just the way I'm wired. Like, I've just always wanted to be the best at everything I did, no matter what it was. Like, if it's, Pong, if it's Pac-Man, if it's building a snowman, if it's building a snow fort, if it's shoveling snow, if it's, anything. Like, I just hate being shown up by anybody with anything. Like, I just have to be the guy. It's weird. Like, it's a disease.
It's not weird. No, I mean, I think that's normal.
Like, to this day, I'm like, I won't leave the house like without having my clothes a certain way. I have to have like everything match.
Well, that's
like,
a little OCD. Are you competing with style?
Oh, my wife, like, she's like, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, because like I take longer to get ready than she does.
Wow.
And it's like I'm so particular about like everything. Like, I have friends that like got like fat that used to be good athletes and stuff. And I always tell my wife, I'm like, if I get like that, just hit me with a baseball bat in the back of the head. Because it's like, I guess I'm just too conceited, but I don't care. Because I just have to look good. I like feeling good about myself. If I miss a few workouts, like, I just feel like such a waste.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
I know
like,
that feeling.
I've always been like that.
Yeah.
Like, always, as long as I can remember. Like, I'd always have to be like the best little league baseball player, the best high school basketball player. But like, just me. Like, I always had to be the guy. And that's what I think frustrated me about WWE.
Right.
Because I knew I could have been the guy.
Well, also
if they would have pushed me like they push certain people.
But it's not. It's a subjective business. It's not. There is no competition. It's not the UFC. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, and I think that's part of the problem.
It is.
Because it's like they could take a guy off the street and make him into
it's one man's vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're literally competing to hopefully that this man likes what you are. It's not who's the best at
it's
it.
literally the world's biggest crapshoot, basically.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of it depends on who likes who.
Yeah.
And
It has nothing to do with. It has nothing to do with. I mean, it does have to do with skill, but it literally has nothing. Skill is not in.
we'll just watch the show.
Very nice, Gino. What are we doing? Plug wise, bud.
Well, like I just touched upon briefly, doing the horror movie called 100 Acres of Hell. It's being directed by horror movie extraordinaire Jay Lee. He's the director of Zombie Strippers with Jenna Jameson and Robert Englund. He's done Alice Kills. He's an award-winning horror movie director, and him and I got together with my partners from Walking Dead Films in Jersey, and we had this vision for this horror movie, and Jay Lee brought it to life. The trailer will be debuted on November 15th. We're doing the Comic-Con in Jersey at Tom's River. Keep an eye out for that. I have a beard care line coming out because, as you touched upon, my big, beautiful beard
it's beauty.
has its own zip code now. It's 17 Snitsky, and you can check that out online.
Or Google Maps.
Or Google Maps. It's that's due to be dropping by the end of October. I'm working in conjunction with Detroit Beard Collective. Okay. They had contacted me about doing a line, and I was like, heck yeah, sounds good. So we're the development with that right now, and I also have the new Beardman shirts. Hashtag I'm Beardman.
Where do we grab those?
You could hit me up on Facebook for the link. I believe the link is GOO.GL /K 31, I believe.
That's amazing. That you know that.
But also got those bad boys out on display now.
So you're mainly Facebooking?
Mostly Twitter. I do Facebook.
What's your
Instagram. Twitter is at Big Gene Snitsky, BIGGENE SNITSKY. I have my little blue check mark, so you know it's not some crazy imposter living in his mom's basement. I also do Instagram at The Real Snitsky. And back to my plugs, if I may.
Yeah.
I just signed a deal with Bad Apple Armor as their official spokesman for the clothing line. I'll also be helping design some of the clothes. That's who designed the I'm Beardman logo that I'm wearing right now in front of you, Mr. Colt Cabana. Mm-hmm. And we'll be doing some work together in the future, so keep an eye out for that. I also do a lot of autism awareness. We have the Buck Hardware Autism Awareness Belt in our presence. Yeah. And the deal with that is if you come up to me and take a picture with me and use the hashtag BuckAutism, BUCKAUTISM, we donate $1 to the Autism Awareness Foundation to help raise awareness and money, obviously, for the autistic people. Do some stuff with the Humane Society, the MDA. I'm shooting a photo shoot with the MDA people for the Harley-Davidson connection there. And I'm also represented by Vitargo, which is a super carbohydrate. I'm a sponsored athlete by Vitargo. I also am a sponsored athlete by Phoenix Kinetic Cream, which is a transdermal pain reliever, which obviously helps us wrestler guys who have battered ourselves over the years. And I think that might be
No, keep going. Keep going.
I got a lot of stuff going on.
Kmart.
You know.
Walmart.
I'm not just a wrestler. I'm not just another pretty face.
Yeah, it's true.
Wow. I'm actually highly intellectual.
Yeah.
But I enjoy working with all the companies that I'm involved with, and
I'm impressed with the charity stuff. That's really cool.
It's great because as a kid, my house burnt down when I was in 11th grade. The Salvation Army helped me out a lot with like clothes and all that kind of stuff, and they did like a little charity event to raise money for my family. So it's always been something that's been important to me.
How'd it burn down?
I was at basketball practice, and from what I was told, electrical fire. Huh. My dad was outside shoveling coal, and the house just kind of burnt down.
Wow. My next door neighbor's house burnt down. The woman fell asleep smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. No, it wasn't that. It was electrical, and thank God nobody was home. Yeah. It was in the daytime, luckily. But so I've always, always wanted to help when I can, and being with the notoriety that we get from wrestling, it's always nice because kids relate to that, and wrestling's so huge all across the world, and it's nice to be able to put a smile on someone's face when they're down in the dumps and stuff like that, because everybody needs some help once in their life, Mm-hmm. So it's nice to be able to be that guy to put smiles on faces and cheer people up and raise money and create awareness, and it's a nice feeling to be able to help people and give back, because like I said, I'm from a small town. It's nice, growing up the way I did, I like to give back to the people in need, and I never forget where I came from. I still, my parents still live in Nesquehoning, so I'm still visible in the community.
Very cool. Well, you're a big sweetheart, and I appreciate you coming on. Thanks, buddy.
All right, check out Gene in one of his many adventures. He did have a great beard, though. I can still smell it from just maybe smelling the microphone covers. I could smell that Snitsky beard. Thanks for coming on, Big Gene. I appreciate it. Before we get out of here, let's get into some plugs and
upcoming events.
All right, ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com is the best way to support. Twitter and Instagram at Colt Cabana, Facebook /AOW Podcast and /Colt Cabana. ColtWrestling@gmail.com is my very public email. Maybe a promoter want to put me in an upcoming show or convention. YouTube.com /Colt Cabana Wrestling is my YouTube channel. Watch my cut my promos. Also, ColtCabana.com is my website. And I have a P.O. box on there where you can send me snail mail. I came home from Japan and just had a boatload of stuff. Let's see, a couple shout-outs. Perfect Day Zine. I got a zine. I love when I get zines. I will always support a good zine. Atomic Elbow, that's a good zine. Somebody who has sent to me in the past. Lauren, she sent me a letter for being awesome. Thanks, Lauren. Rob sent me a coupon for a free Gatorade protein bar. You know I'll use it, too. The Department of South Dakota Tourism sent me pamphlets and packets, I assume because I called Sioux Falls, North Dakota. They're trying to teach me that it's South Dakota. That comes from the Eugene podcast. Sorry, South Dakota and the Tourism Board of South Dakota. I am a fuck up, and I realize that. Also, Scott in England sent me some Cabana Soda Pop coasters, which I will throw out to the crowd at a live show one day. Upcoming this Friday and Saturday, November 13th and 14th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Queens, New York, houseofhardcore.net. Sunday, November 15th, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, live podcast, 2 o'clock. Show starts at 4, alpha-1wrestling.com. Friday and Saturday, November 20th and 21st, Sayreville and Keyport, New Jersey, ProWrestlingSyndicate.com. Wednesday, November 25th, Chicago, Illinois, Cards Against Humanity headquarters, ColtCabana.com to reserve your seats. Saturday, November 28th, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, WrestleCade.com. Sunday, November 29th, Providence, Rhode Island, Facebook.com/Beyond Wrestling. Friday, December 4th, Chicago, Illinois, FreelanceWrestling.com, right before the Abbey Pub. I'll be doing a live podcast. Sunday, December 5th, Cleveland, Ohio, AIWrestling.com. Sunday, December 6th, Alton, Illinois, right outside St. Louis, PWCSWrestling.com. Of course, those 3 dates are for the Wrestling Road Diaries 3. Come be in my movie. That's it. That's the show for this week. Big thank you to you at home for listening. I always and truly appreciate it. Thanks to Gene Snitsky for coming on. Thanks to Cape Guy Jeff and Stu Stone, Kid Russell, Matt Jenkins on the music, Dane Miller with the tech. How about some sponsors? HighSpots.com. 100 full-length titles available to download, plus all the $5 wrestling titles. AMA knee pad, gear, mask, a wrestling ring. Rob Naylor's doing stuff over there now, too. And I think there's a Young Bucks documentary. OneHourTees.com. They help run ProWrestlingTees.com, the place where you can support your favorite independent wrestler directly. Also, get my new Top Rope Tuesday t-shirt just this week. TweakedAudio.com/Colt. The earbuds that I use get over 30% off and free shipping just because you listen to this show. No rambling from me. Just getting the fuck out of here and taking my middle of the day nap like I usually do. This has been The Art of Wrestling. For Colt Cabana, I'm Colt Cabana. Thanks.
I'm gonna have you on my podcast, so we'll bang that out.
All right.
All right, buddy.
I look forward to banging you. Thank you.
Hey.